Hey everybody, I'm your host Chris, K-R-I-S, and this is my Digimon World opinion piece. Remember the Tamagotchi, a little digital pet device released by Bandai in the 90s? If you were a kid at that era, you probably either had one or had a friend who had one. It was a massive hit with children everywhere worldwide, right? In fact, I remember a friend of mine lost his for a number of months, only to find it one day still alive and well. Of course it died as soon as he turned it on, which made me wonder or contemplate that maybe he should have just left it buried down the back of the bed. Well, after the success of the Tamagotchi, Bandai followed it up with Digimon, short for Digital Monster, which is very commonly known today. But back then, when this game came out, dude, you were able to raise your own little creature with the ability to play and battle. A huge success that was followed up with a one-shot manga called Come On Digimon and a video game released on Windows 95. They also did well, which spawned a second generation of Digital Monster Raisin that included a 2-player battle mode, a big step for the genre at the time. It appears people really liked playing the part of parent, or maybe just a sick desire to start their own version of Fight Club. In any case, Digimon continued to grow and was here to stay. By 1999, Digimon grew popular enough that Bandai and Toei Animation partnered up to create an anime titled Digimon Adventure. And while overshadowed by Pokemon, it was still a big hit everywhere. Personally, I always loved the first season of Digimon for its serious tone and coming-of-age storytelling spread amongst a huge cast, which is honestly difficult for any TV show regardless of whether it's animation or live action. Plus, the beautiful background art is still today gorgeous and stands out as a testament to what can really happen when it comes to anime and a creative team that care for what they're doing. It was well crafted and it didn't feel like it was made just to sell toys as badly as some other tie-in anime shows. Not gonna call anyone out. Well, about a year after getting into the show, I found out about the release of a new Digimon game that just showed up in the store down my street, Digimon World. I actually remember having a PlayStation magazine back in the day that had the review of the game in it. It was about a 3-page spread, and they basically talked a lot of nonsense that I strongly disagree with. They get it like a 6 out of 10. But back then, I didn't expect to ever see this game in a store because I knew it was going to be a niche title, you know? And I remember after finding out that it was downtown, I was rushing into the kitchen and begging my mother to buy it for me right away. As selfish as that sounds. Normally she'd tell me off and she'd be like, you know, you have to wait till Christmas. You have to wait till your birthday to get a new game. But that day, I think she could see in my eyes how excited I was about this game in particular. She handed me the money to go buy it that moment and said it's an early B-Day gift. Man, after a spine-crushing hug to my mom, the friends I had and I, without any hesitation, bolted down to the game store, all which got us in trouble because we parked our bikes up against the window of some woman's shop across the street, and she came out with like a vein bolting up her own neck. We're sorry, alright? We were excited, we were kids. But, you know, fair play to her. She wasn't yelling. She just wanted us to get the bike off the window. But finally, we walk into the store. There it is. We get the game. Digimon World is in our hands. And you know what? It's one of the few games that not only lived up to my fantasies, but surpassed them. Every now and then, a new hype game comes out. Blows everybody away. Then, 6 or so months pass and you start picking at the flaws. Gamers tend to call this the honeymoon phase, Or maybe consider that they could have done a little bit better here or there in certain areas. Well, with Digimon World, I had no real issues at all on that scale. And this is a love that has never gone away, almost 20 years later. Of course, being fair to other games out there, your expectations are always lower when it comes to anime tie-ins, or games released with a budget. But I've held this opinion since day one. Digimon World is my all-time favorite video game tie-in. A comment which by today's standards may get a little bit of a funny reaction from people. But back in the 90s and early 2000s, many video game tie-ins were rather amazing. Not just playable, but like straight up great games. You got Aladdin, you got GoldenEye, there was King Kong 2006. The Lord of the Rings games, while I haven't personally played them, I know the fans love those games. The Lion King, so many amazing titles. Often insanely difficult too for the audience that are targeted, Well, Digimon, with 65 Digimon ranging from fresh to ultimate, you will spend hours, or in my case, months and years, discovering the true potential of your digital monster in the green gym. From sitting under waterfalls, to boxing punching bags, to getting boxed by boxing gloves, to learning how to read, you'll feel like both a parent and a mentor. Only, maybe more of an immature, unsuited parent or mentor, because if you're anything like me, it'll always be the Digimon's fault for evolving into Numamon for the 30th time, Training at the gym not only increases your stats, but can also potentially unlock new moves too. Also, the smarter your Digimon, the more battle options you have. So training your mind and your body is extremely important, and a good lesson for the kids, come on. And don't forget your weight. You want a big, strong, heavy Digimon to appear, you gotta make sure it's well fed. And that can be rather difficult to task, because some Digimon require a lot of food, and your free daily meat isn't gonna cut it, so you'll have to make money in other ways. And don't take that comment about the poop earlier lightly. You need to have a certain discipline level in order to reach your evolution goals. So all of that into one ball. There's a lot of micromanaging, and there's more to raising your Digimon. As you go on and grow throughout the game, you'll find out when you progress how difficult this can be. But once you get a novice understanding on how to raise your pet, you can begin the journey of exploring the beautiful, almost magical and completely bewildering world of File Island. And this is where the game for me grabbed me by the soul, by its tight grip, and kept me hooked. For File Island is filled with a rare kind of atmosphere that creates an ambiance of peace, adventure, and a sense of personal growth. The spirit of the game comes to life as you encounter many other Digimon, some dangerous and wild, some lost and confused. You speak to these lost Digimon and convince them to return with you to File City so the island can once again be a place of belonging. You'll search File Island head to toe, whether it's the dry void of water mountaintops or the tense insect-infested swamps. You'll find new adventures and stories that'll make this game feel as if the world map is 5 times larger than it actually is. It's easy to have a big open world game, but to make that grand space feel alive, that's a real challenge. Digimon World is a decent sized map, but due to the fantastic development and care of each and every area, from large open fields to small ravines, creepy mansions to disturbing little toy towns, Digimon World brings to life a whole host of bizarre and wonderful locations with equally wild characters. Not only that, but beware that many areas have their own weather system that will affect your pet as soon as you enter. Go to Freeze Land with a fire Digimon, you're in for a bad time, period. Risk of getting sick and even death that will delay your progress greatly. Same goes if you bring an ice Digimon to the desert. Worse yet, some areas have different time zones where days go speeding by, meaning your young Digimon's already short lifespan is decreasing even faster. If you have to pass these areas with unfit Digimon, be ready or you will regret it. But that is one of the most important, if not the most important aspect of a good open world game. If the locations are bland to explore, then the game failed. It doesn't matter how well written the plot or the characters. Thankfully, Digimon hit it out of the park in every aspect. Well, relatively speaking. For the plot is simple compared to many other games, Digimon manages to absorb you into its goal of saving the island. I can't tell you enough how difficult it is for me to follow along with an NPC's tasks in games. When a protagonist is silent and just does what others say, I tend to check out quickly. But because Digimon World grants you with important upgrades in food, meds, portable toilets, and special items, as well as bringing in pleasant characters to interact with, I never had the issue I normally find in other games. To be fair, in most other games, NPCs tend to be extremely rude, and who wants to obey anyone, let alone someone that yells down a radio at you the entire game? Digimon did it right. Cute characters give you cool items. Win-win. Once you've traveled the land and found enough Digimon to bring back to File City, it begins to upgrade. Impressive shops, restaurants, newspaper stands, gossip columns, hospitals, and even travel services all become open to you. It's because of you, the player, that the town is awesome. That's what sells this so well. You feel like not only did you do a good deed on a large scale, but also the game rewards you visually and reminds you forever just how impressive a job you did. Everything you see, you built. Everyone there with a smile, you're the reason. I love that. It's so personal. It's like a little family you're creating. It's rare that a game makes you feel like a true hero, with everyone pleased for your hard work. Because this game is not easy. This game will break you at times. Whereas games like Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow were instant classics that more than deserve their place in the game in history, Digimon World makes you work for its love. If you want to see that town built, you'll have to prepare for some serious training and combat. I don't think I've ever save scummed as much in a game as I have Digimon World. See, if you lose 3 battles, your Digimon dies. You have to raise a whole new monster earlier than expected. So saving up enough money to buy as many recovery items as possible and making sure you have recent saves is a form of management I didn't expect to find on such an extreme level. Now, remember, I played this game when I was 11, and I was going wild on everything, kind of brute forcing my way through. It's how I play games. So it may have been a bit harder for me compared to some others that took their time and planned out their battle strategies better than I. Even so, it doesn't take much to surprise a new player to this game and leave them face down in the dirt with a fading monster yelling at them for being a horrible trainer and making you feel like the worst person. There were times when I would raise a new Digimon casually with no expectations of furthering the story, the plot, or unlocking anything new, so I don't have to use as much meat or spend as much money on recovery items because I was saving up for a future Digimon that required a higher supply. This game is all about care. Pay attention. Making this game even more difficult is reaching ultimate level. Each time a Digimon evolves, its lifespan increases. This allows you to continue traveling the island longer without fear of sudden death, and more time with the Digimon to train him to a high and powerful level. It wasn't until my YouTube playthrough for Digimon World did I ever start getting some real good ultimate level Digimon. As a kid, my strat was to get a champion level and buy as many healing items as possible so I could stand a real chance of victory. Of course, as your town population increases, it opens more options for your training program, giving you more potential to reach that ultimate Digimon level, but it'll never be easy. Because if you work too much on the wrong aspect of your training, such as having defense too high, speed too low, you'll end up with a completely different monster to what you spent your day working towards. And believe me, if that's not enough reason to raise your pet as best you can, consider this. Digimon World has a 2-player battle mode where you can face off against a friend's saved Digimon. Myself and a group of other friends ended up addicted to this game as a result, and we started raising Digimon just to fight each other. Fun story though, I raised a champion level Birdramon that had a rookie level attack in Spitfire, and never lost a single battle against my friends. For some reason, Spitfire and Birdramon's speed, while lower on paper, was able to stun lock everyone else's Digimon in 2-player mode. They hated me. They hated me so much after that, it was amazing. They hated losing so badly that everyone involved ended up abusing the save system and digi steroids you buy late game. We would literally stand over the save point, feed our Digimon these stat boosting steroids, then as fast as we could, we'd snap down on the X button to save the game before the Digimon that was overdosed with roids could die. The meta of the game became simply seeing how much our poor creatures could handle before fading. Because battle mode saves the Digimon forever, so while they die in the main game, they live on in 2-player mode. It was a fun, insane level of abuse. Eat an item, then bash X to save. And if your Digimon died too soon, reload the game, remember what time of day he died and how much he ate, and try again. It makes me wonder who the real monsters were. But moving on to sunnier topics, I haven't mentioned the music and the environmental sound yet. Both are wonderful and build at a strong sense of immersion. This is important because it's one more aspect of Digimon World I love. While the OST alone isn't on par with some of the classic Pokemon games, Final Fantasies, a lot of people love Zelda, you know, even Grand Theft Auto games with all their radio music is great, you know? While it's not on that level, Digimon World's OST fits this game perfectly when you're playing it. With a lot of soft, peaceful music, the game manages to put you in a trance. And the many areas that don't have music are filled with great sounds of nature. Just sitting back fishing at Dragon Eye Lake can make you feel like all the stress in your day has been expelled. Dragon Eye Lake is just another example of many that bring the world to life, making the game feel larger than it is. The lake, while small, if you love nature, if you're like me, you like hiking, you love to see long green grass and you love to see trees, and you just want to be part of a world like that, Digimon World is that. It is for you. Pipes giving it a history. Something was possibly built here, or maybe something bad happened at one point. Little details like this create a great sense of life to a fictional universe. I have tried other Digimon games, Digimon World 3 and Redigitized being the ones I spent the most time with over the course of a few days. And I know Digimon World 3 is beloved, but for me, they just lacked all the elements that made Digimon World 1 different. Bland, big open fields, empty of life and soul, voids with no character and personality, and also getting an ultimate level with ease bores me after working my butt off in this game. Digimon World seems, at least to me, to be a one-hit wonder in the franchise. And speaking of character, one of the most standout moments of Digimon World was when I took over the store for Monochromon. Your job is to reach a certain amount of points through sales. Certain Digimon will come into the store to buy items, and it's up to you to try and get as much money as you can from the customers as possible, you know? But mess with them too much, mess with the wrong person, and they'll storm out of the shop because they all have different temperaments and they all have their own level of tolerance that they're going to deal with, which will not only cost you money, but time and stress, as you'll have to continue playing shopkeeper even if you know you won't reach the sales goal. But after many attempts, when you finally get the goal requirement complete, Monochromon will be so happy he'll join File City, making it all worth it. Even more brutal, you think all the parenting sounds difficult? The food issues, training and emotional caretaking? Well, on top of all that, time plays a part. Certain Digimon are born at certain hours, and some Digimon only appear in the world on certain days. Worse yet, some only appear once a month. Picture this, right? Picture this. You train for a fight for a Digimon that shows up once a month, but you forget. Yes, it'll happen. It'll happen. It sounds ridiculous, but it will happen. You'll simply forget and you'll tear your hair out. Worse yet, you don't forget. No, you don't forget. You train. But before the day arrives, your strong, powerful Digimon dies of old age. Now you gotta start over, missing the battle. See you next month. And then there's the other situation. You don't forget, and your Digimon doesn't die. But the one you face off against whoops you so bad, and you realize you can't cut it this time round. Again, see you next month, Pixiemon. I hate that guy. But truthfully, these are the kind of elements I love in video games. These moments when a challenge brings a massive reward. That includes boss fights. They can be difficult to a point of cheapness, but also fair. Because while they have cheap attacks, you wouldn't have such an issue if you've trained correctly. The champion level Digimon with the player feeding HP and MP restores all match strat works, but it's a hassle. The player that focuses, puts the work in and the time into getting the ultimate level Digimon with mastered new powerful moves will have a much easier experience. But are there flaws in this game? Well, of course there are, you know, there's many, and not just little things. There's glitches that straight up lock your game. Some EU copies can't be completed due to a bug. My copy and experience worked fine, but broke in other ways, such as the collectible cards you get, they never delete off the screen if you enter and exit the viewer too fast. I've lost hours of progress due to having to reset the game after such problems, the days before autosaves were ever a thing. It caused so much misery. There's also a jukebox issue later on that I won't get into, but some people have had problems with that. On top of that, there's also game changes I'd have loved. If this game was on the PS2 instead with a bigger budget, I'd have loved more buildings. Because at a certain point, seeing 4 different Digimon you work so hard to get to come back to your file city in one shop or restaurant instead of having their own building gets tiring. It's a shame I don't enjoy the other Digimon games. Maybe they fix those issues later on. But honestly, this game is amazing. It's a true hidden gem that people passed on because they said Digimon was either a Pokemon knockoff, or anime games suck, or they disliked the way it looked. But those that sit down and give it a chance may have a different opinion. If you have yet to play this and you adore peaceful, heavy management titles that have a nice bit of action as well as a strong sense of immersion, then I recommend this game. You don't have to be a fan of anime, you don't have to be a fan of anything Digimon, you don't have to know a thing about the Digimon franchise. Just turn the game on and allow it to hook you. Getting this game these days is difficult and often expensive if you don't play on an emulator, but whatever way you get it, make sure to set some time away and enjoy. It's time consuming, but it's worth it. I've yet to play this game on a handheld, but I feel like if I did, it'd be perfect for either a PSP or a Switch, you know? Maybe someday a handheld system will come out and Digimon will get ported to that. It deserves it. And yeah, moving all that dirt in drill tunnel sucks. But that's all I gotta say on Digimon World. This is my little piece on a game that has in many ways been lost to time for various reasons, but does not deserve to be neglected. And I urge everybody out there, if you like monster raising simulators, if you like games where you're going to sit down for hours and play a slow-paced, very tough experience, then this is the game for you. It truly is. I've been your host, Chris, K-R-I-S, and if you enjoyed this video, then you know what to do. Feel free to express that love by giving it a thumbs up. I also stream games on Twitch at AloversGaming, links are below in the bio, and have a Patreon which holds this channel together. So consider supporting the channel if you're able to, and I'll be able to do more videos like this. And I'll see y'all next time I come up with another video to create. Enjoy your day, go play some Digimon World, and create some amazing memories. You'll thank me later. Bye.